Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. We eat sandwiches and play games. Taste of Dragons Gaming Podcast. A podcast for everyone's taste.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to yet another episode of Taste of Dragons, the Toddcast, the video game podcast that all you people who delay announcements out of spite listen to.
I think Brian's got something to get off his shoulders later.
It's a little specific. It's a little specific.
You got something to share, bud?
I might.
We'll
You
talk
doing
about
okay?
it. We'll talk. Don't give it away. Secret.
But y'all, it's another bonus episode, week 5
Woo.
of bonus episodes,
Wow.
guys.
Hot bonus summer.
Five guys. We're the five.
We got hamburgers too.
We got hamburgers and peanuts everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
They do have those giant barrels of peanuts too.
It's true.
They do.
It's true.
They do. Well, that's not going to fly now, Joe.
Those peanuts are bonus at Five Guys.
They are. It's got to make sure
'Cause they're
somebody
free.
else, gives them to you versus reaching in there with your own
Oh,
mitts.
yeah.
That's what I mean.
Sorry, that just hit me. I'm like, wait, why can't they have barrels of
What
peanuts? I
Who
don't
ruined
understand.
Peanuts?
Like,
I don't know in today's climate. Sometimes you're like, oh, are peanuts bad? Am I not allowed to like peanuts
Right?
anymore? Oh, gosh.
Now I'm realizing you're right. It's
Peanuts is one of those words where you have to really make sure you enunciate that second T.
Yeah. The second T, there's 2 of them in there?
Oh gosh. Yeah. I put 2 T's in a row to make sure I emphasize it. Peanuts.
I had to replay that over my head 3 times. I was like, is there 2 T's in peanuts? Oh my God, have I been saying it wrong this entire time?
It's like pterodactyl.
Yeah.
It's a silent P or T in there,
Absolutely.
Peanuts.
peanuts. It's like the patina of a peanut.
Oh man, this is
you-
good sub content.
but you
Are we
know-
starting over?
No, we're going.
Stop it.
We're barely
Stop it.
through. We're barely through. As always, my name is Ryan.
My name is Detroit. What? Roy?
My name is Amanda.
I can't add a T to my name. My name is Jote. What is that?
You are
Jote.
Jotunheim.
Jotunheim.
But y'all, it's just the 4 of us this week. We had to record on another off day. But you know what? It actually helped us because we have fresh breaking news for y'all today. And by breaking news, I mean for us, not for you, because you'll be listening to this 5 days later. But for us, they announced a new Nintendo Switch tonight, guys. Or today.
Today they did
Yeah.
a brand new switcheroo. Dang.
They're switching it up.
Yeah, what's it called?
It's called the Nintendo Switch OLED.
Okay, and what is it?
It's a Switch with an OLED screen on
Oh
it.
man. Wow.
And a fancy new color.
Yeah.
Do you feel like they didn't call it the Nintendo Switch Pro because they're going to have a Nintendo Switch Pro? Or do you think that someone in the marketing department just literally dropped the ball? They were just like,
I think we are only in the middle of the cycle of this console, so there will
Yeah.
absolutely be a Pro at some point. This is not it.
And I don't know if they would call it the Pro because I mean, you have the PlayStation Plus. No, the PlayStation Pro.
It's a Pro
Yeah,
for
It's
PlayStation.
a Pro. I think they
Pro,
already
yeah.
have that. And Xbox doesn't call their thing like the Xbox Pro or X Series Pro or whatever. It'll have some Switch name like the Switch Family Edition or Switch
yeah, they're
it
calling
up.
it the Switch OLED, which I would
Yeah.
argue is a bad name.
Yeah.
It'll be the Switch U.
That's exactly what I was about to say. The next one's
Switch
going to be
U.
a Switch OLED U.
Okay, no joke. I like Switch U
What's
Yeah,
this?
that's
What if
good.
it's a Switcher U?
or Switch Up.
Switch up.
Or Switch
okay.
U
Yeah.
up.
Oh gosh, that sounds threatening.
It does, doesn't it?
Get off. Get out of here, Nintendo. Goodness.
But speaking of which, I do have a question for y'all.
Oh, yes.
So, if you were in charge of coming up with the name of an in-between console, and this could be any company system, anything,
Okay,
any
okay.
system also, what would you call it? So, like for mine would be called the Xbox Series Plus. Because it would follow the nice long line of confusing Xbox's names. Because if you look at it as a slight angle, it's still a Series X.
Oh.
Because it's the plus sign. It's not going to say plus. It's going to be a
So
plus sign.
would it be an Xbox Series X Plus? So,
No, just
Okay,
plus.
okay.
Just Series Plus.
But is that the advanced version of the X or the S?
Good luck.
No one
No
knows.
one knows.
It's a between version. It's half X, half X, S plus.
Boom. See, look, joins a long
That's gonna
line
be hard to
of
top.
amazing names of Xbox.
So I would want mine to be PlayStation, and I would want it to be more of like an interactive adventure.
Okay.
Where the in-between console is actually going to be inside of just a black or white box.
Okay.
And it's just a very, very a standard one, nothing too descript. But what's inside the box, you don't know.
Okay.
You don't know.
Okay.
And you plug it in and just play. And I think I would call it the PlayStation Probably. And it's kind of like, remember Airheads when we were younger? You would get the mysterious,
Yep,
like
the mystery
white
flavor,
mystery
yeah.
flavor. I want that, but for a video game console.
Okay, so it would be the PlayStation Pro Bully.
What? Yes. Then you switch it on, and it's just a mini SNES. You're like, what? Gosh, why is Super Metroid on here? Weird PlayStation.
Did they partner back up with Nintendo?
So Joe gets hers, and it's just a NVIDIA. It's like, I guess I'll play Snake.
Okay, sure.
So I get mine. It's an N-Gauge. What?
Welcome to PlayStation Probably. We need time to work on our next console. Here, have some of our employee stuff they wanted to give away.
I think my in-between console would be a crock pot with red and white stripes that plugs into an existing console, which would be the KFC console. So it would be a KFC console
Perfect.
now with mashed potato support. So not only is your chicken warm while you're playing, but you can have that vat of mashed
Get a nice
potatoes.
little side.
it would
Maybe
even-
some cooked beans.
I'm even going to add to the mashed potato crock pot, and I'm going to put like one of those little arms in it that they put in cotton candy machines, so
Okay.
that and Slurpee machines, so that it continues to
What?
keep your mashed potatoes like
okay. I thought
soft
you said
and fluffy.
I thought you meant like you were gonna get like your crock pot, your chicken, and then have like your mashed potatoes, and then have a cotton candy wheel on the
No,
side
don't be
to
ridiculous.
also make cotton candy.
No, it's for the mashed, because if you leave mashed potatoes and they just get hot, they get like that crusty bit
Yeah,
on
they
top,
do.
and the edges aren't
Yeah,
good. No,
that
it just
crusty bit.
spins it like a Slurpee.
I like it.
Like a cotton candy machine.
Yeah,
Just
yeah,
made-
yeah.
Yeah, I
Joe's
see
with
it.
me.
I
Joe
see
gets
it
it.
now.
Got you.
I see it.
Yeah.
I do want cotton candy and Slurpees now, but I see it.
Oh, they definitely have a cotton candy Slurpee.
So would that be called the KFC Rock Pot?
Oh, I was thinking the KFC console now with mashed potato support. That's
I like
the
it.
whole.
That's the whole name?
Yeah.
Okay,
Rolls
I like it.
Beautiful.
Right off the tongue.
Yeah.
I like it. It's great.
It does. I would go with the Sega Saturn. I would want to make it the Sega Saturn MME. And
Okay.
it would be the Sega Saturn Mars Mercury Earth.
Oh.
We're just going to keep it with the universe, get some planets in there.
Keep the planet
I like it.
theme. Yeah.
And then when they make another one, they could be like the times 2, and it would be like it would be multiply 2. So,
I like it.
And then they come out with the Sega Saturn Pluto, and then they
Right.
have to deny that it's actually a console.
Bingo.
After like 9 months of
Not
it
really
being out.
console.
Yeah, it's more of a crock pot.
Is it going to be like Cyberpunk where they're just going to have to recall it? Because
Yeah.
like, nope, sorry. We
Sorry,
didn't
it's not
mean
really
to
a
put that out
console.
yet.
It's too small to be a console.
Yeah. I was actually thinking you might have gone along the lines of it's a Sega Saturn, but it's called one of Saturn's moons.
Or just called
Oh.
Sega Saturn Outer Rings.
I like it. Yeah. Sega Saturn rings.
Rings, yeah.
Yeah,
there
I
you
like
go.
it. But yeah, I thought that would just be a funny.
Would
a funny thing.
Sega Saturn rings be a Sega Saturn plus a Ring doorbell?
Or onion rings.
Oh.
Yeah, take some Sega Saturn onion rings, put them in your KFC crock pot now with mashed potatoes.
Yeah.
Well,
Maybe
that's-
even-
I mean, we don't support onion rings, not officially.
Oh, I thought that was going to
yeah.
be like cross-play
Listen.
support.
That's
Right,
crossplay.
that's what I
That's
thought.
crossplay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I like
put in
it.
some Sega Saturn chicken wings,
Ooh.
Sega Saturn wings.
Oh, it's in a rings. Sega Saturn
Yes.
rings.
Welcome to the Taste of Dragons, where we butcher the English language. As I say English.
It had it coming.
But yeah, let's actually talk about this Switch Pro OLED. I hate
Yeah,
that name.
the Switch OLED,
yeah,
OLED.
right?
OLED.
the OLED.
The OLED.
OLED. Well, I mean, all right. So you don't like the name?
I don't.
Here. So tell us why. Tell us why. What's the gremlin on your shoulder with the name?
Because it's really long. If you, no matter how you say it, unless you say OLED, which nobody's gonna know what you mean, and then if you say OLED, you might as well have just made it 4 words.
I don't even know if people know what LED means. OLED
don't.
means. So I don't
Or
know if you're.
LCD or
Yeah. You definitely need to know about the hardware in order to really get what it is. But also, it's very factual.
Yeah, it's one of those like just buzzwords. I think they're just putting on it. I mean,
Yeah.
it does mean something because it's gonna take less power than a regular LED screen, but
Yeah.
and it's 0.8 inches bigger. Ooh.
Yeah, so I did have
Yeah.
a question about
Yes.
that. When I saw the video and they showed this new console with like really dope white controllers and white docking and all that, and some really cool features. One of the features is that the screen is bigger. So then I was sort of wondering, does that mean that the entire handheld is bigger, or are they just using more surface area of the existing Switch? Okay.
My real question with the new screen is it heavier, because my hands already go numb when I play with it.
Right. And like when I'm playing on my bed, I just have my hands up and
Yeah.
the blood drains so quickly.
Yeah.
It really does.
So when they
Like-
were
It really
like,
does.
the screen's bigger, I was like, oh no. I mean, maybe better battery life because of the OLED screen, but the same hand life.
It is.
Battery life of the hands is not going to change.
Oh man.
Oh.
The upside is with the OLED display, yes, the battery life should be better, and it really doesn't have to do with the display. It has to do with the new Switch. If you were one of the people that got the Mario Switch, it has the new chip in it, and that new chip actually runs cooler,
that's
so the battery
right.
doesn't have to work as hard to keep the interior cool.
Oh, good.
So it should. Literally right off the bat, it should have better battery
Okay.
power. They probably just aren't ready to tell everybody how
That-
much better, or if it's
Right.
really that much better.
yeah.
They don't want to get locked into any expectations.
Correct.
My Switch right now, like I cannot unplug it for more than 15 minutes before it's like, what is happening?
Well, that's a different problem.
Guys, my
Yeah.
Switch talks to me, and it's a 95-year-old man.
My original Switch, I think, can last maybe an hour and a half off the base. But my Animal Crossing Switch, I can play for 3 or 4 hours still with no problem.
I just picture like your old Switch like in a race and it's like struggling to get through, and then it looks over and sees your new Switch and they're like on a bike like sipping a soda, just having a great time
No, they've
cruising.
got a
They're in
Capri
a
Sun.
convertible car with
And
a
it's just
Capri Sun.
and just saying on your left as it goes right past it.
The new kickstand's really cool.
It is.
I love it.
It is.
Oh, it's like super wide, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
instead
So-
of the tiny
Yeah,
one.
the existing one's like a stick.
I break
Yeah.
that. I broke both. I've had 2 Switches so far. I've broken it on both
What?
of the Switches.
Why are you breaking kickstands?
It's technically they do plug right back in, like they do snap back into place, but they don't work as well after they've been removed
Yeah.
once.
How are you
Yeah.
breaking them?
What? How are you not breaking?
I don't
them?
know. I've had mine for like 3.5 years. I never even thought it could break. But you just like you
It
bend
literally all it takes is to lean it the wrong way, and then the thing just goes pop, and
It's
the
like
spring
its
pops.
own weight will knock it over sometimes.
Yeah.
But back to your original question,
Yeah.
no, it's not going to be bigger. They just shrunk the bezel.
Okay.
Or not shrunk the bezel. Yeah, they shrunk the bezel.
Okay, because I was
so-
concerned that the controllers wouldn't fit, because the controllers match up with them. Like if the
Yeah.
console's bigger and those controllers fit on it, then they're bigger controllers. And I was like, what's going to happen? But
No.
That
it's
makes
just-
sense.
That's why it's only 0.8 inches larger, because it's...
Okay.
What
it's
if they just continued to make it longer? It was like, remember when they had those panoramic photos that
Yeah.
came out when we were kids? It was like, no, you could have this panoramic. Yeah, it's just like 24 inches long, but still only like 4 inches high.
is it going to turn into like an ancient scroll that
And
you're
you
just
roll
like,
it out.
yeah, reading left to right in order to play Mario? Got to play some Metroid.
Hold on, I got to get my Switch scroll.
Don't know why my scroll is rusty. Could use
Did you
some
leave it
W.
out in the rain again?
Oh crap! That's
So that way it only has 15 minutes of battery life.
oops.
But I love the look of it. Like you mentioned, it's white. It's like,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
at least this one
It's really
version.
crisp, very
one,
clean.
One of the versions is white.
I totally thought it was Nintendo Gray, actually.
Oh,
So
yeah?
like every time I saw somebody say it was white, I was like, oh, that probably is white. I just assumed it was like that color of an NES, like that gray color.
Oh, like the
that's
Super Nintendo color? Okay.
It's interesting that you say that, because when I saw it was white, I instantly was like, oh, everyone's going to be so angry, because the PlayStation only came in white, and everyone's like, oh man, I wish I had the PlayStation in black. And then the Switch comes in white, and everyone's like, yes, finally white. And I was like, I'm very confused.
What do you want, consumers? What do you want?
Two different markets. Two different markets. I don't know. It actually just looks really nice in the
It
white,
does.
whatever
Yeah.
it is. It looks really good.
Fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then like as the video kept on going along, because I think it was only like a minute and a half long video.
Yeah.
I think it was like 3 minutes.
Yeah, 2 minutes, 3 minutes.
Yeah, whatever it is. As it was going along, I was like, okay, I'm ready for the more features. And then it just,
Oh,
and then I was
no,
just like,
Brian.
okay. Oh, okay. So it comes with you could plug in an Ethernet cord into it. Sweet. All right.
Yeah.
And
for all that hot Splatoon action.
and the video's over. Okay. Like,
Oh.
that's why it's called the Switch OLED, because that's the only thing that's really new
Hey,
about
they
this.
said the speakers are better or the sound will be better. We
Yeah,
don't know what
yeah.
that means, but that's
I don't think they could get worse.
yeah, agreed.
So-
You're not wrong.
Yeah, there's no instance where I'm playing my Switch and I don't have my own headphones in because the sound on the original one is just really low.
Yeah.
Unless you're playing fun like a party or something, the sound doesn't matter.
It doesn't. And then also, if you don't have your speakers on, it also takes up less power as well. So it'll last a little. It's not like it takes up a whole lot, but
wow. So you're telling me that my Switch battery is even worse than I think it is?
Possibly, yes. There's a high possibility.
But I play it a lot, so I've worn that thing down. I probably could use a new one, but I don't think I'm going to get this one in particular. How are you all feeling?
I've been waiting for the Switch Pro, so when they announced something, I was like, yeah, I can't wait to order it. I'm with you, Brian. I wish there was a little more to it. I was really looking for that 4K action to be like, not that I need it because I don't own any games on the Switch that would really benefit from 4K, but I wanted like that hub. I'm definitely going to get it though, but I think half of that is because my existing Switch is kind of broken.
It's interesting you bring up the 4K. I heard something today that I didn't know. The reason that they can't upscale to 4K is because the HDMI slot on the dock is only HDMI 1.4. So you need 2.0 to have 4K.
Yeah.
And they can't upscale with the port that's already on the dock as it is. And this port, we don't know what the specs are, but they're assuming they're still using the same port. That's why they can't upscale to 4K yet. But they're saying that they're hoping that when Breath of the Wild 2 comes out, they're expecting there to be a new port, so that might be upgradable.
That would make sense.
Another new console?
Yeah.
We're only in the middle of the life cycle of this. There's no way they're gonna ditch this and just start
When did the original Switch come out?
4 years ago, I think.
Okay, 2016.
I think so.
I think it was 2016.
Yeah, so that's actually 5 years ago.
2017.
Oh, 5. Jeez.
Yeah, if it's 2016, that's 5 years ago.
But it's very Nintendo to have
Yes.
like 6 consoles in a console life cycle.
Especially in handhelds.
Yeah,
Their
'cause
handhelds,
the
they have
DS
so many different ones of them.
I
So,
felt like
yeah.
every 2 years they came out with a new DS, and I was like, and I really love my 3DS.
Yeah.
I was like, every time one came out, I was like, my 3DS is fine. I can't rationalize another
need
new
another
3DS.
one.
It was released on March 3rd, 2017.
Okay, so it was
17.
4
Okay.
years.
March
Okay.
3rd. And you know, it launched with Breath of the Wild, so it would be kind of poetic for them to launch the next iteration of the Switch with the next iteration of Zelda Breath of the Wild. I could see that.
Yeah.
You know, if that happens.
And then in the video, they kept on showing the television screen. So I kept on expecting, this is when they're going to come with that graphic on the side that says 4K or whatever.
Brian.
Just never came. And then the video, it's like,
For those of you that watched the trailer, the trailer made a lot of sense. There's only one thing that I was a little confused about is there's a guy and he's clearly going home, right? And then he sits down on a bench in his own hallway and then pulls out a Switch and starts playing the Switch in the hallway. And I was like, "You're home, man. Go sit on the sofa.
He
go plug in
immediately
your-"
sits down.
Yeah, I was like, "Go get comfy. It's gonna wait.
That bench does not look comfortable, my dude. You have like a million couches.
Take off
what
your
are you doing?
shoes."
Maybe he's in a house with other people, so he can't. He doesn't want to share. So he wants to finish his game. So he's like, let me take my shoes off. I'm just taking a really long time taking my shoes off. The mud room's dirty. I'm cleaning the mud room. And he's just, I want to finish this level.
maybe he lives in a small town. And that's their doctor's office, and that's their waiting room because it's actually a house. It's a
That would be
converted house.
lovely. I am waiting for the release date or the pre-order date.
Yes, pre-order date.
Yeah,
exactly.
I wish they would have said that.
Yeah, 'cause it comes out October 8th of this year.
Okay.
So at least we have a release date. But man, like that video and the release date and everything just screamed to me this belonged at the end of their presentation during E3.
So talk about you opened up by saying that this was released out of spite. What
Yes.
did you mean by that?
What I meant by that is that Nintendo does have a history if things leak of them cutting off their nose to spite their face. With like the Zelda Netflix series, they were actually, or the Legend of Zelda, whatever you want to call it. They were actually pretty deep in development of that. They also had a Star Fox thing going on at the same time. Somebody leaked this, and Nintendo went, all right, we're cutting the Zelda series, and also, I'm sorry, you guys are deep in development. Like, I think they were just about to start shooting, or they already
They were
had
starting
shots.
to cast.
That's
That was what it was. They were mid-casting.
Yeah, of the Star Fox series. And like, that's off too. Even though the Star Fox thing had never been leaked, they were just like, no, this is done. This is leaked, so we're just not doing it anymore. It's like, but everybody was excited. Like that's press, y'all.
Wow. I didn't know that they were that. I didn't know that. I know that's why that got canceled. It was because someone leaked. I mean, think about it though. If they're like so like tight knit and they're making this thing, and then someone leaks, and I'm guessing that person didn't get caught. I'm sure they're like looking around like it's one of you. Let's burn it all down.
Speaking of that, yes, actually, they just recently won the lawsuit against the people who leaked what Pokemon Sword and Shield was about. Like, there were people somebody along the pipeline of making the game, it was actually the people who were making the strategy guide. So somebody who is on the team making the strategy guide for the strategy guide company sent the pictures to one of their friends, and that friend sent those pictures out. And that stuff leaked like 6 months before it was supposed to. Yeah. And Nintendo was very upset. So they recently won I think it was like some insane amount of money. Like it's like, I want to say it's in the millions, like a 2-point-something million dollar, but I could be off with that. I don't remember for sure.
Yeah.
But it was insane. It's an insane amount of money. They took them to court. They sued them for leaking and irreparable damage to their company. They won. And the people who did it, like, it's the same with this ROM company. I think they went after the same thing. Like, Nintendo, I think that it's not that they're being petty. Mm-hmm. It's that they're trying to make a point and saying, hey, do not leak our things. Yeah. Do not use our stuff. These are our intellectual property, and we will go after you to the fullest extent of the law. And we don't even care. We don't need the money. We're just going to do it because we're jerks. And we care about our stuff. And they're not jerks. It's their stuff.
Yeah.
But, like, to a degree, part of me is like, okay, sometimes it's, all right, guys, calm down.
I feel like 2.2 million is a bit much.
It was crazy.
I don't know.
I think they could have gotten that point across.
If you spent 6 years working on something and then right before you released it, someone ruined it, I feel like I would.
I think they're in their right. I don't know. It just feels like a lot of money.
It's just a lot.
Well, they're never going to see a dime of that because it's a person. But
it's the point.
It's the point, exactly.
It's the visual public thing to it to say, hey, don't do this. Mm-hmm. And I do think this is just another in the long line of when something gets leaked, they are on purpose are messing with things after that. Yeah. Like, so much so that during their stockholder meeting, or their shareholder meeting, last month, I think, like just a few weeks ago, a stockholder who owns a piece of the company and is sitting in the room is like, hey, what's the deal with this new Switch? Are you guys going to announce it? Mm-hmm. And they're basically like, we'll announce it when we announce it. Calm down. I was like, this is a person who owns a large piece of this company. And they basically were like, we'll let you know when you need to know. You're not in the need to know boat right now. And it's like, they're not wrong.
Yeah.
But if they said something during that meeting just a few weeks ago, it would have kind of ruined this. It would have been it was right after E3.
Mm-hmm. So with this, they did have a large leak of like a week before E3. Well, a possible large leak.
It was a few weeks before.
Yeah, it might have been even a few weeks, but where people were just like, oh no, this is going to happen. And it might even happen before E3.
Yeah, we were all excited. We were looking at the updates. We were talking about how there was going to be a new Switch. Like, pretty much everyone in the industry, gaming and whatnot, we were all like, okay, this E3, they're going to show a new Switch.
Yeah, and it was pretty much an
inevitability.
It was that. Where like this was going to be shown either pre-E3 or at E3. And it was actually, I think it was mostly pre-E3 this was going to happen. They're going to announce it, and then other companies could announce their stuff for it, and then they could do their proper thing at the very end. And then when it didn't happen at the very beginning, they're like, all right, maybe they're just mad that this got out beforehand. They're just going to announce it during E3, at their thing. And then they just didn't either.
Right.
And then I think a whole bunch of people wrote articles on why it didn't happen or why it might not have happened. And a lot of them cited because it leaked. So Nintendo was just like, all right, we're going to take our toys. We're going to go home and you guys will get it when we're ready for you to get it. But yeah, this video to me just screamed like this is like and one more thing. And then they play that video and then they just end their conference. Because that video doesn't need any more explain. There's nothing new for it. It's just a screen and just new hardware.
Right. Yeah, I get it. I get it. Do it. I mean, either way, I'm gonna get the stuff or not get the stuff. Like I don't feel like beholden, or I guess it's their stuff. Yeah, I guess I don't care when they announce it.
While we're already on a down note, do we want to segue into our apology section?
Yes.
So we at the Taste of Dragons, we always try to do our best to support you, our listeners, and we realize that in recent history we may have failed to do so. And in light of recent events, we would like to take this time to apologize to all of our former or current Xbox users. we have recently enjoyed a lot of the Xbox content that comes out, and all of us Sony only Xbox it belongs in the garbage podcasters are kind of retracting some of the things that we have said, but we wanted to admit that we were wrong and let you guys know that we might be purchasing an Xbox this holiday season.
There's no might for me. When Forza comes out, I'm buying an Xbox.
Yeah, I think what's spoken most loudly from our podcast is yes, there has been some disdain lightly sprinkled over the past couple of years, but I think the bigger or louder voice is the lack of any Xbox coverage for such a long time of anything Xbox like. So yes, our apologies, and we will have some content for you hopefully this holiday season.
I mean, speak for yourselves, guys. I have been trying. I just don't personally own an Xbox. I play all their games, though, because I have a PC.
What with the new Bethesda content and with Fable coming out next year, this is just me talking about me.
Yes, it is.
And with Double Fine moving to Xbox is at least the Manda Troy household. And I know Joe's definitely picking one up.
Yes.
We're gonna expand our gaming family to include a little bit more Xbox, which is exciting.
It is.
I don't know, babe. I don't know if we have enough TVs, to be honest. I mean,
So you get another TV. That's what I'm doing. I'm going to put another TV in the library room. The Xbox isn't sharing space with that PlayStation 5. That thing is a whale. It is never going to make space for that Xbox.
I guess we could find some room in the closet or something.
Throw
it in there.
I like how you think TVs only come with one HDMI port.
No, I'm going to get rid of the other ones. I like my TVs to be exclusive. Thank you. I'm not into this polyamorous like console life that's happening. It's a little new for me. I'm going to need some time. Just saying. Just keep it in the room. Keep it in like the back room.
Do you guys think that had Nintendo put out that on E3, like they were one of the last things that was actually showing at E3, do you think that would have overshadowed the Xbox showcase? Because I still hold that showcase very high regard. Like it was really great.
I don't think so.
I don't think so either. So I almost think this was a very calculated and smart stopping of themselves. Like I don't think this was going to overshadow the amazement that was that showcase.
Yeah, I kind of like the move that they did to delay it, because there was so much hype over what it was going to be that if I could see someone very smart over there being like, this is not what everyone wants it to be, and if we show that, it's going to work against us.
Yeah.
Instead, what happened for me is I watched that, we didn't get the Pro, my expectations went way down. I'm like, well, I just don't know what they're doing, and I just stopped caring.
Yeah.
And then they come out with this thing today, and you're right, Brian, it's just a bigger screen and some quality of life changes. It's not what I thought it was going to be, but I'm okay with that because I had thought I wasn't going to get anything or that they weren't going to come out with anything. So I saw that and I was like, cool, awesome. This could be great for someone who needs a new Switch, like my wife.
Yeah, like me.
So I think actually it was a pretty savvy move to do that.
I agree. And then also to bring it back up, today, on the day that this podcast releases, July 11th, I am on Still Loading podcast. I talked about it last week. Today is the actual day of the release. So if you'd like to hear my voice some more this week,
cue it up right now.
Right now.
Get that right there. Just us and then Still Loading, and then us and then Still Loading. Just make a whole playlist. Pop it back and forth.
Talking about that Final Fantasy Redux, right?
That's right. Final Fantasy VI Redux. So we're going to be talking Final Fantasy VI, a little bit of other Final Fantasies, but pretty much Final Fantasy VI.
Is this just kind of like a deep dive into Final Fantasy VI?
A little bit, yeah. It's also a book review on a book that he got that's on Final Fantasy VI, and it's mainly about the music that went with it.
Beautiful.
Ooh.
And it's from what he was talking about, I was because I also hadn't read it, so I was like, oh, what is this? And it sounded amazing.
If Still Loading Podcast were a console, what game would come packaged with their console?
Oh.
GoldenEye.
GoldenEye.
Oh, GoldenEye's good. GoldenEye's good.
That's a good one. For me, it's going to be like that the Mario Paint one from the SNES that had like the fly smacker. You could also create music on it.
Oh, I really liked that game.
Yeah, I think because he's a little bit of everything.
It's a very versatile.
Oh, okay. I get that.
I like it.
I like Brian's answer. That's good.
That's what I would go with.
I like it.
So, but yeah. So if you want to hear more of my voice, or if you are interested in Final Fantasy VI. Still Loading Pod?
Yeah, we'll put a link in it in our description. And actually, we'll do it this week.
Yeah.
I have said that 3 weeks in a row. I have yet to do it. But this week, we're going to put a link to
people who didn't know to be disappointed in you yet. Are now disappointed. Like, they didn't look for the link last week. They didn't realize you didn't do it. You just outed yourself.
Said there was going to be a putt saves the zoo link. Well, I don't even know where to look for that.
So yeah, but back to the Switch OLED. we were talking about how it doesn't have a lot of features to it. A lot of new features. What do you guys think should be in a like mid-season, let's just say, a refresh of a console?
I am a cosmetics person. All
Okay.
they have to ever do in something usually is change the color. Update the screen, change the color. The kickstand is really what I would have wanted anyway.
Okay.
I don't really play my Switch docked ever. So for me, having to not go grab something else to put the Switch on so I can play with it hands off is extremely wonderful. So I got what I wanted. Kickstand. Make it so that I can not have to hold it and still use a Pro Controller.
I think storage is really big for me. If
Okay.
I think about that, I mean, for the cosmetics, yes. And then I think if the other reasons I have bought consoles in the past is like, oh, they went from 500 gigabytes to a terabyte. Well, I run out of space all of the time, and I could use that terabyte.
I think space is really important. That's one of the reasons I get it too. Cosmetically wise, I think cosmetically wise, not even cosmetic maybe, but if it is like less cumbersome. I'm thinking a lot of
the
PlayStation.
Slims?
Yeah, the Slims and stuff. It can still do the same stuff, but it's just taking up less space.
Yeah.
That is awesome. I am for those type of quality of life changes.
Yeah.
And then everything else is just extra. If they add better screen support or graphics or more options. We live in such an interesting time period where all the consoles that we have are alive and they are being plussed or pro'd slowly over time. The features that get added to the interface of the PlayStation, whether it's HDR or whether it's the new messaging systems and things like that, your purchase evolves into a plus or a mid-tier console naturally already.
I don't feel like it evolves. I feel like you get rid of your purchase and then you get another purchase. Except, do you guys remember the Xbox 360?
Yes.
Is they had the detachable memory storage. I'm sad that never caught on and then advanced. Because I would love, and we talked about this a little bit with the Switch. It was like, I'd love if I didn't buy a new Switch, if they just gave me features to attach to my existing console that made it better. Like the new Switch, they're like, oh, we have this Ethernet point. Well, why can't I just buy a dock and put my Switch in a new dock? I mean, I get there's a lot of technological restrictions why that can't happen, but I wish they designed consoles like that instead of buying a new PlayStation with more storage is
like a computer.
Right. Well, not even like a computer, because again, like the Xbox 360 was a great example. The memory was in the top, and I just clicked it, and it came out, and then I put new memory in. So could we do that with more features? Probably.
Yeah.
I think that the way things have gone, it is better, kind of like the Xbox, because I do think the Switch having the micro SD port it's like that with the memory, that's storage memory.
Yes.
I think the problem with upgrading it in that way is that a lot of the time it's the actual processors, it's the actual RAM on the inside of it that became just antiquated. It's obsolete. That by the end of the life cycle, usually it's not something anybody's even putting in anything anymore, and it's being used in consoles because it's cheaper. And Nintendo is like the king of find the cheap thing and keep using it. And which is why I'm kind of surprised with the OLED screen, because it's still something that's being used quite popularly now. And when they upgraded to the new chip in the last Switch that they put out, that chip is new. It's not like a thing that had been around for 10 years that they were able to find cheaper so they could process and use that. I think that's probably why it is. It's a hardware issue, like internal. It probably costs so much for them to, unfortunately, probably have to send it in and then have them fix it and put a new chip in it and put the new things in it and then send it back. And by that point, I'm not going to send anybody my Switch.
Why would they make $75 from me if they can make $300 again?
Exactly. Yeah. Like for me, I like to see new hardware. I like to see new stuff inside of it. But that's just, I like to see that type of stuff. That's just the kind of person I am. I like to upgrade my computer. I like to do different things with it.
Right.
So, and in the future, I do think that might be a thing, because right now you have Thunderbolt connections where you can connect entirely new graphics cards to like laptops. So you can have like a full-fledged, like the latest generation video card in a box that's next to your laptop that you can plug into your laptop, and your laptop will use that as its as the graphics card. And so that's something that's only been here, I think, the last like maybe 5 years it's actually been in use, but this has been around for I think like 10 years or so. So I do think that might be a thing in the future where they design for that.
Amanda, that's what you want.
I would love that. I mean, I know you were just saying that you like it when consoles slim down, but I would definitely buy a box that sat next to my PS5 mid-generation instead of buying another PS5 and getting rid of mine that just made it slightly better.
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
more storage and better graphics and faster or whatever it is they come out with mid-year.
I do think that is something they changed in this one as well. It went from 32 internal storage to 64 internal storage as well.
Okay.
The new one.
That's
So
cool.
yeah, at least now you can put, if there is a game that is too big, you can actually just have it on your Switch as opposed to having to delete lots of things on your Switch and play it from the cloud.
Now that I'm thinking of it, I want to change it. I want a mid PS5 console that's a box that sits next to my regular box that makes my PlayStation better and has 2 slots for my controllers in it. And then
Yes.
my controllers.
It's like a crock pot before your controller.
Yes, it's like a controller crock pot.
I see.
And mashed potatoes.
And cotton candy mashed potatoes.
Do you guys actually have a crock pot?
Yes.
I do not have one of them.
I like the idea that we've talked about it so much. You're just like, are you guys okay? Do you need a crock pot?
I
You
ask
guys talk about that a lot.
I ask because I don't have one, and everyone who has one always makes the most amazing stuff. But it's lazy, but not lazy because I just do that in the oven already. I just take the 8 hours to do it, as opposed to like, here's your pressure cooker that's done in like 2 hours. Is it amazing? Is your crock pot amazing? Tell me it's amazing. I've been looking to buy one.
You've made like stew and stuff in it, right?
Yeah, I usually make stew in it. I make
It
stew
still
and I
takes
make
hours.
slow cooked meat in it.
Right?
And ours is a pressure cooker, so we can pressure cook it. But I know how to use a slow cooker, and I've never really delved into the pressure cooker, so it can pressure cook, but I just don't use it.
We do rice a
dig.
lot.
Yeah, and
very,
also just
very
rice.
easily and
I
quickly.
dig.
And
Okay,
it's just very fresh, clean, good rice.
Yeah. Yeah, we have a rice, like a
Yeah,
a
Satirishi.
legit- yeah,
I love my rice cooker.
a legit rice cooker. Which, yeah, they all are.
Sorry about that.
So
Segue.
that's fine. That's fine. I find Nintendo's like its own special beast when it comes to iterating on their hardware and their hardware consoles.
Yeah.
Whereas like with PlayStation, Xbox, like you'll get like a new system between major systems, but it'll have significant changes to it. It'll have HDR support or new ports, new memory and things like that. But when I think about Nintendo and like their iterations, I think of like the DS, which had like a million different little changes
Yeah.
made to it, and they would release as a new thing. It's now a 2DS, it's a 1DS, it's got this, it's got that.
The DS, the DSi, the 3DS, the
DSi.
Street
Thank
3DS,
you.
the DS XL, the
Wait, what?
DSi XL,
What's the Street
the 3DS
DS?
XL.
What's the
Wait,
Street DS?
Did you say 1DS? So it's a video game console that only does one dimension. It's just a straight line across your screen all the time.
That's Game & Watch. That's what that is.
No, that's still too many dimensions.
No, man, it's a Switch. You just kind of rotate it, and then you're good to go. So I mean, like, so seeing this was fine with me. Like, I didn't feel like I needed more or anything necessarily, because I know it's not their next console. It's not their next iteration on the Switch. This is just an extra feature that they're adding to this one, as they have done with the 3DS a bunch. They didn't really do that with the Wii U or the Wii so much. They just kind of had those consoles. But for the 3DS, like you mentioned, Joe, there were so many different types.
The Wii had 3 different iterations, and they were hardware issue only. And I think when the Wii U came out, the idea was that was going to be something they could have upgraded like they did everything else, and like get a new this, get a new that. And it sold so poorly that they had they dropped that one real fast.
I gotcha.
Yeah,
I gotcha.
And then also the Wii, they did release, like Joe said, new chipsets with it because of piracy. Actually,
Yep.
the early Wiis were extremely easy to pirate
Right.
Stuff on. So they're like, all right, well, here's a new chipset. Now you can't do it. And then like 6 months later, they got pirated again. So
Damn it.
all right, let's do this again.
It was actually the GameCube discs that were the easiest thing to pirate too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh. But they did upgrade also the controllers. Definitely had iterations to make them smoother, better, more
That's true.
responsive.
That's
So
true.
this falls in line with what I expect from Nintendo to make.
Speaking of peripherals, do you think that Nintendo will ever make VR? They're not in the VR game right now.
I don't think so.
No.
Never?
I think they're too far behind.
I don't know. I think they started a lot of things off with the 3DS. Personally, I think they don't want to do VR where you're putting something on. They want to do VR where you just walk into something and it's there.
Yeah.
What? I mean, yeah. Then
That's what I think
sometime in
Nintendo
the-
does.
Yeah,
They
that'd
were
be great.
They were much further into immersive gaming than either PlayStation or Xbox was. I mean,
Yep.
with the Wii and the Wii U, like you were doing stuff that I wouldn't have dreamed
don't
of doing.
forget
with
the
it.
the PlayStation game VR. What was it? The Wario one that was all red. They started the VR.
Yeah, they started.
What's it
was
called?
With the
Virtual Boy.
Virtual Boy.
Yeah.
Thanks, Joe.
Yeah. That's why I did this.
I'm like looking
I saw
across the
Brian,
table.
like,
I'm like,
so that-
somebody.
So everybody
somebody
at
help
home
me.
knows Brian cupped his hands over his eyes and made like what would happen if you were looking into like a pair of goggles or like
A virtual boy.
A virtual boy. No.
Yeah.
No one ever put their hands over their face when they were looking into a virtual boy.
No, I'm just talking about the giant size of the virtual boy.
You still
is
didn't
what
do
it
that with your
was.
hands.
Well, you hold it down here. I'm just talking about the actual physical nature
Brian
of it.
became a man at sea.
I did.
He's
I
about to
did.
say like land ahoy.
Down periscope.
he was in a submarine. But yeah, I mean, Nintendo got into that VR game or that 3D, whatever it kind of was, and I remember trying those on, and it wasn't great, but it was good for it was
It
new
was the
for
90s,
its time.
man. It was the 90s.
It was breakthrough for its time.
No, I'm just saying.
And I don't think they were going to come back after that was such a big.
If I
loss.
rewind time a little bit before the Switch came out, we were all talking about how Nintendo might not have a console anymore, that they might have to sell Nintendo games to a different company. So I wouldn't put past Nintendo to be like, here's our VR, by the way, it's better than everyone else's. Bye.
All they have to do is find a way to sell that VR to women and little girls, and they'll be fine.
Sure.
Because
It's
they
a
did
good
that with
market.
everything else. That's why we have so many of the things that are family style on the other consoles. VR, like actual VR sets, are one of the only thing they don't do. I think it's because of convenience. The convenience of the 3DS was that you didn't need glasses, you didn't need goggles, you didn't need to do anything. All you had to do was open the screen and decide the layers of what you wanted to look at 3D wise and look through the screen like you were supposed to, like it was a magic eye, and it worked.
And just make sure you hit it the right angle, because if you were a
That mattered.
millisecond off,
It did.
you're just gonna have a headache for 3 hours.
And before that, they did it with the Wii. They did it with the Wii balance board. They did it with being able to show people you can use your whole body to play. And then we had the Kinect, and then PlayStation got into it with the Move, I think it was. Was it
Yeah.
what was PlayStation's thing?
Well, PlayStation Move, and they also have PlayStation VR.
Right, and
Well, yeah,
that,
they
not
do,
right.
yeah.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like other companies have taken a step further in making it less convenient but more immersive. Whereas Nintendo, the way you sell it to a family is by making it convenient.
Well, there's also a secondary issue to it as well. Since Nintendo is a Japanese company, they also have space issues as far as inside their houses or wherever they live. So VR actually takes up a lot of space.
Right.
You need to have an entire clear
Yeah.
area in order to properly do VR. And
Right.
even if you don't, you can't really nilly-willy wave around your arms and whatnot.
I
you
would argue
cannot.
that that's why Nintendo's the perfect company to develop it. Is because if it's developed over here, you're going to need to clear out an entire room of your home and then paint all the walls green. And they're like, perfect, now you can buy our console. But I feel like if Nintendo develops it, then they're going to say, okay, what do we do with people who only have this much space?
I
How
agree.
can you
Are
be
seeing
immersive?
like a holographic thing that they like
I'm not
project around the
seeing
screen
anything.
so that you don't put goggles on?
Because that's not my job. That's Nintendo's job.
Nintendo's job.
I'm
yeah.
just saying
They'll
I
find a
have
way.
confidence that they'll do it.
I agree, actually. Yeah, I think that's why the 3DS works so well, because they're like, well, we can't really have this in a different way. Because we're always on the go over in Japan, we have time in between everything. This is the perfect thing for us. And it worked for them, and then it worked for everybody else.
I could see them using augmented reality. They toyed around with that a lot with the 3DS. Point the camera at like your actual desk, put a card down, and then like a little dragon comes up or Mario, and you can play with it and move it around. I feel like they've lightly tapped on that technology with those systems. I could see them going more into augmented reality like that. I don't know what that would look like, but just transforming the area around you through something you hold or watch.
If I put on my conspiracy hat, I would say that's only proof that Nintendo's already probably developing something like this.
my
You
gosh.
wanted this episode to be filled with drama and gossip, and I'm creating it out of thin air.
Oh man, it's got her conspiracy hat on. I mean, is it even on her head? Who knows?
Conspiracy.
It's a conspiracy. Is it even a hat?
Maybe lizard men run Nintendo. They have all their technology from the moon.
Oh,
How am I doing, babe?
I cannot support on paper any of these allegations
Alligatorations?
of the good people at Nintendo.
I personally would love to see them integrate into glasses. Not like a Google Glass, but like an actual, like, they just kind of look like glasses. They have different kind of frames. Like you could buy Oakley frames for them or whatever. You could do specific frames, and then just it's all like either in the glasses themselves
Guys.
or it's beamed into your eyes.
Guys, he's doing the goggle thing again with his hands.
I am.
This is just a point so he could do his submarine bit again.
It is.
But I do agree with you, Brian. I think that if they could make a VR headset that was as convenient as putting on glasses and then just putting your headphones in or headphones on, I think that's regardless of the company, the next iteration that we want to see.
I agree.
Because no one wants to have this huge clunky thing on their head. You don't feel like you're there when you're like, my neck hurts. And I'm sweaty.
If I just get my hair done, there's no way I'm putting that stuff on me. I don't want to put headphones on if I just got my hair done. So I mean, like if I spent time blow drying my hair, that's not happening.
Yeah, and if I have my glasses on, I haven't put my contacts in. Like I'm not putting it on.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm not
Convenience.
I'm not taking these glasses off to put on more glasses and then be blind. It's inside Yoshi's Island.
Okay, what if
Whoa.
the VR headsets? What if the VR headset is just a giant Yoshi hat or Yoshi helmet? Like you put it on and it's Yoshi's head.
I went to a totally different place. He was like inside Yoshi's head, and I was like, "What if the VR was actually what's inside a Yoshi egg?" And you were like, "It's like the genie," and like
You're just looking around.
like you're like, look, it's just open space inside a Yoshi egg. I want to know what a Yoshi looks at when it's not out and about. I think it'd be cool. Just saying.
Close your eyes. That's what they're looking at. Absolutely nothing.
I imagine
You don't
it
know
more
that,
white.
Brian. Yeah, it's more. Yeah.
Can you see the spots from the inside?
Yes.
These are the questions.
Right.
Those are the true questions. So they haven't done like in between consoles before yet. So would you guys have liked to have seen one on one of their earlier consoles? Like just because it's funny, just like because I know
like the early consoles.
just the earlier consoles because I know like with the NES they did like trackpad, like they did peripherals
sure.
instead of hardware wise.
I disagree. I think they did do in betweens because you had different iterations of the Game Boy, and each one of them wasn't completely different than the last. It was still just an
Color.
upgrade.
You're right. You're right.
If like I'm thinking of like main TV consoles, I would have loved to have seen a console between the Super Nintendo and the N64 called like the Super Duper Nintendo. I don't really need anything different with it. I just want the name.
You mean what they were developing with PlayStation or with Sony at the time?
Yeah, the disc based, CD based. Yeah, why not? Why not? How about you put like two games? You have like two places, two top decks to put games in, and you could like put two in and then mash them up. I don't know. I'm going with
No,
this,
I made it. So okay. So what if you took the PlayStation 2 and you know how you had the tape, I can't think of it now, the CD tray.
The disc drive?
Gosh, it's been such a long time. It was like the thing that you put the silvery thing in and then it went in.
You put the silver donut, the flat silver donut inside, and then you close it. Don't eat it. Oh, made that mistake twice.
But do you remember when CD players were like all the rage and then you could have like a CD player with like 50 CDs? What if you made a PS2 but 50 games?
Oh man, you get that fun noise when it turns around. The
Yeah.
tick, 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 when it's switching discs.
That thing would have broken in 2 weeks.
No. PS2 best.
They would have made it work.
Yeah.
If it was the PS2, it's the only time it would have worked.
But now that I think about it, I mean, Nintendo actually already has because like even the GameCube had the GBA player,
Yep.
the
Wait,
Game
what?
Boy
Well,
Game Boy Advance player.
You like used
peripheral
it as a
edition.
console or something? You used it as a controller?
No, you put it on top of it. Like
They-
it plugs into the bottom, and then you could
What?
put Game Boy Advance and Game Boy games
They
into
had
it,
both.
and you could play that onto your console.
They had
Well,
both.
yeah,
They
she-
did
yeah.
have the cord that you can plug in because I
Yeah.
had that. But you could also play them directly on the.
Wow.
Yeah.
You guys are lying. They didn't do that. There's no way. There's
It
no
had
way.
a cool little box actually, like so because much like now, if you go to play an old game on like on Twitch or whatever, you know how people usually like shrink it down and you have like a border around it. It had a border around it and everything because you couldn't have it as big on the TV.
Could you hook up two GBAs to the GameCube?
With-
Sorry, GameCube is the thing I know the least about when it comes to Nintendo. I totally missed it 100%.
With
so
the
this is
cords, you
magical to
could.
me.
I only know this because my brother and I used to play Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles.
Yeah.
And in order to play that game, you had to own a GameCube, and then you had to own Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles, and then you had to own two cords, which you had to buy separately
Oh my gosh.
to connect to your Game Boy Advance, and then you both had to own a Game Boy Advance. So it was probably,
And
in
you
hindsight, the most expensive game we ever bought we didn't buy them all at the same time for this game. We just owned a bunch
But
of stuff.
still, to pull that off, to get it all working, and once it did work well?
Yeah, it was
yeah.
like our favorite game to play together.
Wow.
It was very well done.
Yeah.
Nintendo's like Apple in that way. Part of the reason you stay in the ecosystem is because it's easier to just maintain the ecosystem and everything
Sure.
works with each other perfectly fine. When Nintendo puts out a peripheral, it just works.
Okay.
You don't have to think about it. It's going to do what it needs to do.
Good.
It's also why it costs as much as it does a lot of the time.
Yeah, right.
One of the things I would have always loved for them to add to a console, and then they might in the future, but I've always wanted to see a tiny screen either on your controller or that you could have next to your controller, kind of like a Wii U, like how the Wii U
love
was with that thing. Because like sometimes I want to just go into a menu and just do, like fiddle or even just find out where I am. And so I loved on Wii U, you being able to just look down and seeing the map there.
That was such a cool feature.
Yeah, or like on the 3DS or on the
Mm-hmm.
DSs, you could just look at the bottom screen and see something else.
It would be cool to have, like, I'm imagining the PlayStation controller now, and they have that big button in the middle.
Exactly.
I can imagine that being like a radio tuner, or like you see your loading progress. Not that loading is going to exist anymore, but or just like being able to do minor menu stuff. I think that'd be really
Yeah, a
cool.
little tiny screen would be nice.
A tiny screen.
Tiny screen.
Tiny.
But yeah, I just remember, because I remember thinking about that like 10 years ago. Like, oh man, how cool would that be? Especially if you're playing like a sports game and you're playing like Madden, and you
do your plays
you
down
do your
there.
plays down there.
They did that. I
And
think.
they did that with the Wii U.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, oh, that's great. And then when you can only hook up one of them to a Wii U, I was
Oh,
like, oh,
yeah,
that's
when-
sad. So then the other person you can still.
Just when I'm like, wow, that's amazing, the Wii U, then I just get reminded why it didn't work
Yeah.
in the long run, and that's exactly why. Gosh, it had so much potential.
It did.
Do you think that the Wii U was the mid console between the Wii and the Switch? Like, if they had not sold it as the brand new next Nintendo, if they sold it like the Pro or the Plus to the Wii, would it have made more sense? Would it have sold better, do you think?
I would argue that it would have sold better if they advertised it as the new console. I think too many people thought it was the Wii U Pro.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, I already have a Wii. Why do I need the Wii U? And it's like, oh, no. This is the new Okay, we did this wrong.
I do think that marketing was a not a good, whatever they did, it just wasn't good. I would buy it because I buy every Nintendo thing. So it really didn't make a terrible difference to me. And
Right.
I was not a believer in that system when it came out. I just
No.
I was like, all right, I really want to play Nintendo Land, and I buy consoles for one game. So I will buy this console and I will play Nintendo Land because that looks really cute and really fun. And it literally took an hour, and I was like, this is the best freaking thing I have. It was an amazing game. It was fun to do with friends. And then as soon as my roommate came in and wanted to watch the TV, I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to be nice and like give her up the TV because, I have insomnia. I'm going to stay up all night anyway, and I'll play it later. It was the most amazing thing to not have to go grab a 3DS or to go grab some other system to play. I could just sit there with the console right there. It's still on. It's still in front of me. She's watching TV, and I can sit here and keep playing my game. They won me over in like an hour. It didn't take long.
Yeah.
And then from that point on, I'm like, I want everything to be like this. I get annoyed now when I'm like, oh, playing this game on the PlayStation. It's in the main room. I don't want to be a jerk and like take the main, here, go ahead. We'll watch whatever. And I'm like, damn it. I'm going to put pause on my game and I'll come back to it later.
I wonder how long before your PlayStation can like screencast to your phone or to a peripheral that's just like, I just need the monitor and the controller. Like, I don't need the whole console.
Yeah.
Just send the data here so that I can see.
I can see that with Xbox, absolutely, but I don't see Sony doing that unless it's a Sony branded thing that they could do, because they hate not making money on peripherals.
Yeah.
Like they hate not like having to share, even if it's something that's as stupid as, like just sharing your screen with something like that. I feel like they wouldn't do it unless they could give you like, hey, buy the Sony.
I mean, I'd pay for like if they made something the size of the Switch and it was just Sony and it was just a screen and controllers and it couldn't do anything but screencast, I'd pay for that.
They did do that with the Vita.
Yeah, I was going to say
they
the Vita was amazing. I still love the
Yeah,
Vita.
I was able to play like Assassin's Creed 4, and then I just streamed it to the Vita, and it was the game from the actual console, just playing on my Vita there.
The Vita has an OLED screen.
Yes, it does.
The PlayStation OLED.
Yeah. That was actually the original name it was going to be. Instead of the 4-letter word Vita, it was going to be OLED.
Oh, wow.
Then they're like, man, that just takes really long to
OLED.
say.
Yeah.
Nobody's ever going to name a console that.
I mean, but it does fall in line with some of of Nintendo's past consoles where it's like the Super Nintendo 64. We're just going to say what it is. It's got 64 bits. Like, that's it. And
I would argue that 64 is much easier to say than OLED.
It is, but it's also like factual to what the thing is.
Right,
It's
right,
just
right.
like on the nose.
Yeah, the 3DS. Like, it's 3D.
But before it was the 3DS, it was the DS and the DSi.
Yeah, I know.
And the Street DS.
I'm not saying they're going to... They don't keep the thread. That thread gets lost.
They try what they can, Joe, all right?
I mean, the DS did stand for dual screen, so it's still the same thing.
Still the
but,
same
you know.
thing.
Right. See? Yeah, okay.
But yeah, I think we'll see where this goes. We're going to buy them, if we can. As long as we can pre-order them, we'll probably buy them.
Yeah, I want one.
I'm riding my Switch all the way.
Yeah.
I'm not going to get anything new. I'm going to hold on to that baby. It's never going to get unplugged.
I'm going to get mine fixed, and I'm going to give my old one to Troy.
Wait.
That's nice.
What? But it's fixed, right?
Yeah, when it's
Okay.
fixed. Because 15 minutes of battery life is not useful.
That's not good. That's not good.
We got you. And then we'll get Troy's fixed, and then we'll give it to somebody else. That is something that Troy and I do. Is we don't sell our old consoles. We give them away.
We do the same thing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Gifts of games.
Oh, absolutely. And then we'll also, this holiday season, fingers crossed, we'll have the new Nintendo Switch OLED as well as Xbox Series X.
Yeah, I haven't decided which one I need to buy yet, though.
X.
You
We're not
ha- we
doing the
want-
S.
you
We're not
don't-
doing the S.
But it's like, it's just for Forza.
There's no
Does
point.
it matter?
Yes,
Really?
it does matter. Yeah, if you're doing it for Forza to look good,
Oh,
that's the X.
you're right. Okay. Well, we're going to have to look for one of those soon.
Yeah, I know.
If I find one tomorrow, we're just going to buy it, right?
Sure. That's
All
why
right.
I said fingers crossed by this holiday season. We should be in it to win it, y'all. But thank you for joining us for this week's episode. I mean, this was a nice look at the new Nintendo Switch.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Yeah.
If you were disappointed, I hope our episode consoled you.
Ooh. Ooh. And then if you haven't heard enough of my voice, again, still loading podcasts, y'all.
I thought you were going to go for another console pun.
No.
I did too. I'm a little disappointed.
I was ready for it.
But yeah, so unfortunately, that brings us to the end of this week's episode. Hopefully next week we'll be back to our normal schedule. There's no movies coming out next week, so we should be good.
Oh, our recording schedule. Yes.
Yeah, recording schedule.
We're still
yes.
releasing on Sundays.
Yes.
Nothing's
And
changed
we're
with that.
still on summer vacation.
Yes.
That's right. So we're going to keep doing some fun, loosey-goosey experimental episodes until season 3.
Hot bonus summer.
Thank you to everyone who's submitted feedback already. But if you'd like to hear us talk about something specific, especially during our loosey-goosey summer bits, let us know. Drop us a line in the Discord or on one of our social medias.
And it would super help us out if you left us a comment or gave us a review on whatever you are listening this on. That would be really, really awesome. And we would super appreciate it. It helps us out.
Yeah. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram and Discord and Twitch at Taste of Dragons all week long.
Hell yeah. It didn't sound right in my head. That's why I didn't say it.
Brian, we had like a nice 3-for thing going there.
We
It
were
was
like,
flowing.
yes and throw it to Brian, and he like watched it whiz by his head.
to dunk it.
No, I just watched it go by. I was like, was that for me? That wasn't for me.
What Brian meant to say is that we are Taste of Dragons everywhere. And we'd really love to hear from you.
That sounds amazing.
That's what he meant.
Really good job.
He's too busy putting his hands over his eyes again.
Listen, I couldn't make goggles with it.
That's why he didn't see it. His hands
Right,
were
they were.
He was in the submarine looking at the top. Yeah. I want to support your submarine adventures, Brian.
You should.
Bring me some time.
I will.
I'm ready to go under the sea.
In a yellow submarine.
Ding ding.
A yellow submarine.
Ding,
Before
ding.
we get DMCA'd, my name is Brian.
My name is Troy.
Amanda.
And I'm Joe.
And we are
the
Taste of Dragons.
Have a great week, y'all.
Submarine time.
And
Do you think you can play soccer in a submarine?
I know.
I was just going to ask that.
Oh, underwater soccer? I'm in for this. What's up, Blitzball? Let's go. You all put this on your
Taste
set.
of Dragons Gaming Podcast, a podcast for everyone's taste.